Hey y'all. So I was on my way out and then I received notification that there is a verdict. Jesus, I was literally in my car about to go. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we talking about here. Oh Jesus. They're going through all of them to see. Got my heart racing. Yeah, I was literally in the car. I was like, I just ran in, couldn't do a thumbnail, couldn't do anything. Jesus. Okay, so they going through everyone to ask if they got a verdict, if it's unanimous. Okay, that's what they doing. Woo, Jesus. Sorry, y'all, I had to run back in the house. All right, let's see. Count one, not guilty. Sex trafficking of Cassandra, not guilty. Transportation of Cassandra, guilty. That's the prostitution. Didn't I tell y'all? Didn't I tell y'all? Let's see. What else we got? Did I predict it? Did I predict it? I'm just saying. Okay, let's see. They got him on that prostitution. I told y'all I didn't see how that was going to work. He got transportation of prostitution. Rico not guilty, according to Inner City Press. Okay, so what they said was, let's go back here to he got sex trafficking of Jane Doe not guilty, transportation of prostitution guilty. He was convicted of the prostitution charges. He was found not guilty on the RICO and the sex trafficking. Told y'all, I said he gonna do a little bit of time. You know what I'm saying? The prostitution, I didn't see how he was getting out of that. The RICO, I didn't see it all. That's why I didn't understand why people were seeing it, but that was just me. Sex trafficking, I think the consent was jacked up for them. Thank you so much, Lolisa, for the generosity. I appreciate it. So let's go back. If you are just coming in, we have a unanimous verdict. A note was received at 9:52. And I'm wondering if the holdouts might have been the ones that were saying he was guilty of a RICO, and then they just was like, you know what? Maybe not. So the deputy inquired into the verdict from juror number 5. Count one, not guilty. Sex trafficking of Cassandra Ventura, not guilty. Transportation for prostitution, guilty. Sex trafficking of Jane Doe, not guilty. Transportation for Jane, guilty. He is not going to, he's going to do a little bit of time, but he ain't doing no time like that. His sentencing guidelines, they're probably going to do it concurrent at the same time, and it's going to be according to his guidelines. Thank you so much again, Lolisa, for the super chat. That was so dope of you as always. Leandra, thank you so much for gifting a membership. And just saying. You said your stomach. You said they Thank you for the cash app. Y'all's loving on your girl. I appreciate it. Thank you, James, for the cash app. So yeah. You said he honestly needs to get some time served. That's from AK. He's out in 2 to 4. I was like, he gonna get some years in for the prostitution. I didn't see how he was getting over that. But the other 4, I was like, I'm not the transportation. There was too much. It was doubt on whether it was reasonable doubt on consent, whether it was forced coercion. This is an L for the government. This is definitely a L. Thank you, Lisa, for the cash app. I appreciate it. So if you just came back in, according to Inner City Press, juror number 5 was the foreman. In the matter of U.S. v. Combs, count 1, not guilty. Sex trafficking of Cassandra Ventura, not guilty. Transportation for prostitution, guilty. Sex trafficking, not guilty. Transportation for prostitution, guilty. Y'all might not think this is a win, but this is a whole win for him. His attorneys did a great job, and they should celebrate this. They really should. Because the uphill battle that they were facing and what the government is trying to do to stretch this RICO, I'm glad that the jury was able to see through it. Thank you so much, Christine, for the super sticker. Jolie B said free Puff. They might let him out on pending sentencing. He might go home pending his sentencing. Purely CJ said, you called that. Thank you so much for your awesome coverage. I learned so much. That means the world to me. Thank you so much that you learned from the commentary over here. I know that I don't have the best titles. I don't try to clickbait you and try to trick you in any way. And a lot of times my commentary, I think because I do apply the facts with the law, people get emotional and get pissed at me, but I'm just trying to get people to think outside of their feelings and their own experiences. That's it. Because some of you guys will probably sit on a jury if you have not sat on one before. And so that's very important to me and why I started the channel. Joy said, thanks for your hard work during the trial. You got to get compensated for all those hours of this foolishness. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. How can he not be guilty of trafficking, Adrian? Because there was consent. They had a lot of text messages of which they consented, and basically what the government wanted the jurors to believe is the reckless disregard, meaning you may not have known, they may not have told you, but you probably should have known, and nobody wanted this to happen to them. Or you had Jane Doe, who is probably going to be looking for another place to stay. You had Jane Doe, who was just, I don't even want to get triggered. Marshall, thank you for the super chat. You said, thank you for being one of the very few for being non-biased. I appreciate that. And I said, wherever I had biases, I told you I ain't really like him like from back in the day. He may be a whole different person. Didn't like the way he treated people, but I'm going to apply the facts to the law. And I hope you guys, just because you don't like someone or what other people were saying about them, I hope that you see why I said what I said, because it can be anybody. It can be anybody. So, yeah. So, yeah. And people are going to say, oh, he's facing 20. The way the sentencing guidelines go, they're going to work on that. I think it's a win for him because he could have got life. He could have got all his assets taken. And I said it before. I said if he could just plead to prostitution and they drop the other ones, I think he should take it. I said that before as well. But now he's found guilty. And, the government is going to try to reach high. They're going to reach as high as they can. Thank you, Only Me, for gifting a membership. I appreciate these chats is moving so fast. Thank you for the generosity. You said, thank you for keeping us educated. I've changed my views because of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That means so much. KW, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. um, what did I miss on here? You get me said, despite how we feel about him, he earned that money and deserves everything he has. That's what I felt about the RICO, and I felt like it was taken away from what he actually built. So yeah, thank you, Deborah, for the cash app. Y'all so kind today. Whew, I was out of breath running in here. Started out. Whew, thank you for your comment, awesome commentary on the trial. I've learned so much, and you have forever view. Thank you so much, Brown Child 3, and thank you for the super chat. Thank you for supporting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Destiny said, my number one place for factual legal analysis. Now, what I want y'all to do is tell everybody who called it. I'm just saying. Nah. Thank you, Pam, for all amazing coverages and education. You are appreciated. Thank you, Queen Shadina, for the super chat and supporting the channel. Y'all just show it out. TLC said, love this channel on the intellects. Only channel I actually want to comment on. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Wayne said, thanks for the hard work. Free Puff. He been saying free Puff from the beginning. So I wonder if they're gonna let him out. Let's see what they saying now. Let's see. I asked the media not to question jurors about their deliberations. Jurors, you can contact our chambers. You gave up a lot these 10 weeks. It is inspiring. You work together, rain or shine. You answer the call of public service. That should give us hope. Judge said, I need to address a few matters with the lawyer. Then I will come back to meet with you. Jurors all rise. They definitely want to poll that doggone jury to see like what they were thinking. Judge said, I'll hear any application then about a sentencing date. And Ignifilo said he should be released. That's what I told him. I said, he's probably going to go home pending. Agnifilo said he is no longer charged with sex trafficking or racketeering. His plane has been chartered. It is in Maui. He does not have access to his plane. This is his first conviction, and it is a prostitution offense. He should be released. Agnifilo said his family is here and could sign a bond. He should be released today to go back and live at Two Star Island. The judge said, this is just coming up right now. I will hear from the government in a moment. Are you proposing he just walk outside now? He's like, yes. We want him. I'm sure he don't care about what's back there at the detention center. My girl Ike said the racist ass man act wins. A swift pardon is coming. I'm certain of it. And that is true. He still can be pardoned on the prostitution from Donald Trump. But he got the big wins on the other one. Sally said, I always trust you 100%. You called this right on target. You broke down the whole process. Powerful, Black, intelligent lawyer. Thank you so much. Queen Brielle, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. Sherman, thank you for the super sticker. I am so glad that I checked my little DMs and stuff before I left this house, because I had just posted, y'all, let me know when there's a verdict in, so blow up my DMs. And then everybody put it on the post. I said, well, let me double check before I pulled out the driveway. And he was like, it's the verdict. I was like, oh Lord, I gotta get back in the house. Thank you, Miss Bathing, for gifting a membership. We have a good time in there. The Struggle Stream Show said, thank you, Pam. Thank you so much for supporting. Good luck to you if you have your YouTube channel as well. Jewel said, we told them, Pam, there was no RICO. Thank you for straight shooting coverage in this case. I took a lot of hits, y'all, but it's okay. It's cool. I took a lot of hits, and I do think he should go home today. I do. That racist man act, that's what Ike said. We talked about it yesterday. I said the purpose of the man act was to get exactly what just happened with Diddy. That was the purpose of it back in the day. And so it's very interesting that that's what he gets caught up in the game on. LK, thank you for the super chat. Let's see, it's moving so fast. I want to get some of the comments, but I want to make sure. Simon, that's an interesting question. So will those women be brought for those charges too? That's how they normally, isn't that how it goes? No, they made them a victim. So I don't know how they gonna do that. DJ said, I knew the RICO was a wash from your explanation in the YSL trial. I love the legal side of your commentary mixed with humor. Thank you so much. Y'all is blowing your girl up. Thank you. Thank you so much, Megan. I'm not even gonna hardly be able to do no work today, and I got a lot to do. You said been trying to ping me since the verdict was in. I was literally probably just walking to the doggone car, and then it was like the jury just came in. I was like, "Oh Lord, please don't let them start without me, please." Kamisha said, "You caught it." Mary Henry said he should be let out because he should have had bail in the beginning. A lot of people think that. Only me 23. Thanks, Pam. You truly were the only unbiased commentary on the trial. Thank y'all. So y'all remember over here when we have other trials. And it was no shade to other people that had other breakdowns, but everybody doesn't do criminal law. Just like I don't do tax law, so you're not going to see me on here talking about taxes. I don't do secure transactions, so you're not going to see me do anything on secure transaction. When I talked about bankruptcy, like with I think it was Tasha K, I said, listen, y'all, I don't do bankruptcy, so I'm just reading the statute. I ain't no guru, but I've done criminal law. I do right now wrongful convictions. I have to relook at old convictions, see what was wrong with it, see what was missed, and try to find new evidence, find new witnesses that were never interviewed, witnesses that were overlooked, apply the law and try to get a court to get them a new trial or to just drop the case. So I still do a mix of criminal, but it's just not you're standing there in front of a judge for trial purposes like what just happened with Diddy. But I kind of know what I'm talking about just a little bit. Don't profess to know everything. There are some that are way, better than me because a Brian Steele or Westmoreland, they do this every day. So I definitely wouldn't say they don't know what I know so much more than them. No, I think they know more than I do. But as far as how this was, and I look at the historical backgrounds of a lot of these statutes, and the RICO just bothered me. It just always bothered me from jumping. I told you all. And it wasn't about not liking Diddy or I could put all that aside. Do I think that he shouldn't have been putting his hand on no woman? No. But do I believe when looking at those text messages, that was a toxic relationship? It was a toxic relationship. And I think she benefited from it. And I think he benefited from it. And we know as hell Jane benefited. So it was just, why is he the only one being punished for decisions that adults made? And then we're letting the government come. This is a L for the government. They don't lose like this. They're not really, accustomed to this. Latia said, I knew he wasn't going to be found guilty of the RICO. First off, he didn't have all the RICO players. It probably did bother them too. The jurors, like, why didn't all these alleged co-conspirators come in? Thank you so much, Portia. Oh my God, that's so kind of you for the Cash App. Denise and Megan, thank you so much for the Cash App. I appreciate you guys are just showing out. Let's see what else we got on here. The judge said, you proposing $1 million bond? Agnifilo said yes, and travel to Florida, New York, and LA. The government said the U.S. opposes his release. A person found guilty shall be detained until the judicial officer finds he is not likely to flee or be a danger. So the little hating government now, they're like, no, we want him to come and do a motion basically for release. There are certain crimes of which they can argue that you shouldn't have a release pending sentencing, but I don't think this is one of them. Can't be 100% sure, but they want them to go through the whole bond argument process again. So then the government says the defendant faces a maximum sentence of 20 years. Even while faced with this case, he assaulted Jane. The jury didn't believe Jane, ma'am. Here in New York, preparing to surrender, he had drugs in his hotel room, was ready to commit this same offense. He's not getting no 20 years, y'all. He's not getting 20 years. And whatever it is, because I think it's a 10 years. So that's what they're saying, 10 years for each count because he got 2 counts. They'll probably run concurrent. He gonna do a little bit of time, like I told you, but he's not. It's not life, and he's not about to like lose all his assets, and that's what the racketeering charge does for you. The judge said, I'm not going to resolve this second. I need to review the statutes. Ms. Comey, do you have a case in which bail was denied after a conviction under the Mann Act? You may confer and come back. We plan to be here the whole day. So then the government said, I am aware of cases involving minors, but we intend to raise relevant. Well, minors is not what happened here, but we intend to raise relevant conduct as sentencing the drugs and violence. The judge said, I like letters from each side. When? And the government said a few hours. So they all about to be up there typing. The judge said, I think that makes sense. Mr. Combs does not want to go back to the MDC. He is shaking his head. So 1 p.m. letters, and we'll convene in the afternoon. I let the parties know when. Agnifilo said he would be a fool, which he is not, to violate any conditions. So now the government is trying to hold him until his sentencing. eBay, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. You said, thank you, Mrs. Pam, for your knowledge. Thank you so much for your support, eBay. So yeah, Free Diddy, thank you for the great coverage. Should have seen me trying to ping you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you guys so much for letting me know so I didn't miss out. Sharon, thank you for the super sticker. Ooh, it's some of these commentators that's about to be pissed in their coverage. I think it's a win for him because I didn't see him getting over the prostitution. Well, my son just texted talking about hurry up and get on live. Did he just beat his big one? He all late. I'm glad I told you guys to let me know, because if I was waiting on my son, I'd have been hit. Simone said the only victim was Cuddy and they can't prove he did that to his car. Nope. You heard his attorney just say he was found not guilty of racketeering and he was found not guilty of the sex trafficking, which are the bigger charges. It's 10. Let's pull up the statute. Do I have it up here? Man, first, let me pull up his indictment so I can make sure I have the correct statute. I know some people will think, oh, it's a loss or whatever because he did get the prostitution. But I said if he gets the prostitution, if they were willing to drop the other two, he should have pled to it. That was my opinion. But again, you never know what a jury's going to do. But if they follow the facts and the law, I feel like they got it right. Let's find the indictment so that I can look up the statute so I could pull up the right number. Let me see. I wonder what Jane gonna do. She's gonna say, I didn't want to testify for real. I had to. Let's see. 2421. Transportation. It's not more than 10 years. Let me pull it up for you. So what he was charged with, and so he had 2 counts, and that's why they're saying up to 20 years. Whoever knowingly transport any individual in interstate or foreign commerce or in any territory or possession of the United States with intent that such individual engage in prostitution or any sexual activity for which any person can be charged with a criminal offense or attempts to do so shall be fined under the title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. So really there's an or. His attorneys are going to ask for probation. I can guarantee you they're going to start out with probation. They're going to put all the mitigating factors. They're going to, have the best. He's Diddy. He's going to have the best letters ever. And that's if it goes this far. The president can still go ahead and pardon him off of both of these counts. And our president has had some issues where he's been accused of some things, and this may be a sore spot for him. So it's up to 10 years, which means it doesn't have to be a minimum of 10 years. So they're saying, so it'll be 10 years on each count. And that's what they're saying, up to 10 years on 2 counts. He's not getting 10 years. And I don't think they would do it consecutive back to back. I think they're going to have it run concurrently. Peachy Bama said, Pam, you're spot on once again. They were mad, but you spoke. They was pissed, girl. I'm glad I'm here to tell the story. Thank you, Peachy Bama. I was the biggest victim shamer. I'm like, dang. Sonia, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Child, I don't know. Tisa, she over there like, man. Queen Brielle said Trump definitely needs to pardon him for those 2 counts. Let's see if something else happened on here. I hope that answered your question on the sentencing. Oh, they adjourned. They have adjourned so far. So by 1 o'clock, they're going to mail in. So maybe the judge is going to actually have a bond hearing today to see if he can get out pending sentencing. Thank you, Miss Butterfly. I appreciate that. I see all of it, but it's moving so fast, and I want to make sure I get the people that get the super chat. You said kept us on the real throughout. Thanks, Pam. You're the best in the game. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for the kind words. Luigi trial. His attorney is Agnifalo's wife too. That's gonna be interesting. Power Dynamics said, thank you, Pam, for breaking down this case. I was explaining it to my cousin, who is a former cop, and she now looks at it differently because of you. Thank you. So y'all just gassing me up today. I appreciate it. Sometimes you need the encouragement. Thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you all for coming over here. There were literally hundreds of people that were reporting on this case, from national media to YouTubers. And I know I probably wasn't the only one you guys were watching, but the fact that you guys would even come over here, I didn't have the ability to go sit in the trial every day like everyone else because I still practice. And so that just was not conducive for me. And you guys still came over here and watched my commentary. And so for that, I am grateful. It really warms my heart. Sensible said, I have fun with Armand with the foolishness, but I stay here for the facts. I watched Armand too because he was hilarious, and he does need to be on somebody's TV screen. He's he's funny. Sonia Smith said, thank you, and thank you. You have truly opened my eyes and educated me and changed the views on a lot. Thank you so much for the super chat and the kind words. Y'all are showing out. Thank you. And well, you said they just doing their job. They haters. Georgia said Puffy ain't going nowhere. They're about to fight. They're gonna fight to keep him in there. The government is very salty. Okay, they don't lose like this. And one of the things I told you all too is I like watching, and you guys probably didn't get maybe where I'm how I feel. I guess I like to see someone with money that was able to go toe to toe. Do you think Pookie on the corner would have had this outcome? I think that it was very, very interesting to watch. Just all the objections, all of this, all of that. And he had a great team. He definitely had a great team. You said it's going to be weird seeing him out in the streets. Can any other time be suspended? That's a good question. I think you're thinking of statewide, where sometimes they'll say 10 years in prison, 7 suspended. I don't know if they will do that for him or not. I don't know. I know the government is going to fight tooth and nail. They're right now trying to find cases wherever in whatever district to keep him in jail. To lose the RICO, to lose the trafficking, and then he walk out with his family. Oh, no. They are about to fight tooth and nail for him to stay in there. And if they do that, which makes sense. I don't think they gave a sentencing date. So if he's out, he ain't gonna care when his sentencing is, you know. So if he gets out today, they'll probably everybody gonna be busy for the next couple months. Well, Judge, we don't got time. We're busy, you know. So yeah, do this in October. It's not gonna be a rush. But if he's detained, of course, they're gonna want to push it up as soon as possible so that he can get it started. And he does have almost a year in jail already. He could just get time served or probation. I don't know what his sentencing guidelines are going to look like. But as you guys see, it's up to 10 years for each count. They'll probably run concurrent instead of consecutive, and it's going to be based on his sentencing guidelines. He's going to get some type of mitigating factors, such as he does not have a criminal history. The only one he had was that assault, and I think he pled to some years ago, but it's not going to be probably weighed. So he does not have a criminal record. He does have like businesses. He does have people relying on him. He has some great mitigating factors, of which he's not getting no 10 years for those counts. He's not getting 10 years. Will the charges for the co-conspirators be dropped because was the enterprise per the government? I don't think that we don't know if they were ever going to charge him or planned on. Thank you, Trista, for the Cash App. I appreciate it. Miss B's Corner said, great job as always. Pam is the GOAT. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Sue. Thank you so much. So no, there were no minors. There were no minors in this case. That was another thing people were saying. Jane girl, get your boxes. Thank you for the super chat, Tracy. She should have got her boxes when she got off that stand. She should have knew what was up. Aries Save Lives said, thank you for your continued dedication and hard work. Your successful track record and securing millions for your clients is truly commendable. Your professionalism is true. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. He'll probably stay in until Trump is about to leave office. He'll pardon. I don't think Trump don't care. He's not going to wait till the last minute because, first of all, he can't run again unless he tries to change the Constitution, which ain't necessarily a stretch. But he doesn't care. He already, just like how he pardoned the Chrisleys randomly. He pardoned with the YNF and Lucci or whatever his name is randomly. Trump is not a person worried about his political career after he leaves. Trump is going to go to Mar-a-Lago and golf until he breathes his last breath. That's it. He's making sure he creates a country of which is conducive to him and his last days and his family's legacy. That's what he's doing right now. And so, I don't know why they big mad. Shoot. No, the statute for RICO said they could seize his assets. Yes, the statute for RICO says that. The racketeering. Yes, adjourned to 1 p.m. I know I'm probably behind because there's so many comments. Muzette, thank you for the super sticker. Yeah. Thank you, Aaliyah. Thank you for being such a great mod. Queen Brielle, thank you so much. Yeah, hit the like button, y'all. It's 1,100 people in there right now. You said Journey to Armand Wiggins also gonna feel it. You know, I think, and I love people that are not lawyers or in the legal profession at all, because to me, some paralegals are probably smarter than the lawyers. So I'm going to generally say the legal profession. I love that just lay people, as we'll say, that's not in the law, that they care about this case. But they can only go so far on what they can provide you because this is not really what they do. That's just like me saying, because I read a book or I watched Married to Medicine or something, that I can go ahead and perform surgery. No, they make it look easy, but this is actually a profession of which many of us spent a lot of blood, sweat, tears, hours crying while everyone was out partying. We was studying. It was probably 2 or 3 people that I would be doing study groups with every day. I still work 2, 3 jobs, you know, around that time, and a lot of us just love the profession. I think that it is innate for a lot of people. You're a lawyer, and I think it's something you're born with, in my opinion. I think like the way you think, it's a thought process, and it looks easy when you're the one watching someone else, but it's not as easy as it looks. And so yeah, sometimes I have my moments where some of the analysis I'm like, but then I have to reel myself in, like, they're not lawyers. Like, they're analyzing it from their lens of what they know. So yeah. So he was basically convicted of the lesser charges, if you want to. Wonderful said, thank you so much, Marlo, for the cash app. Wonderful said, I'm so happy for him. Thank you, Pam, for all your coverage on this case. I hope he gets time serving probation. Send that man home. What? You said they coming for content creators. Well, what they gonna do? Oh, wow. Yeah, a lot of them are. They found him guilty of prostitution, as I said. Let the man go home. Just right education. You said Jane got a moving truck outside. She should have had that one. She got off, baby. The way I would have told my people to tell her she gotta go. Yes, I do think it's a win, because that man was facing life in prison and all his assets being gone. And I know for some people, you're like, of course, acquittal on all charges is the ultimate goal. But if he had to be convicted of anything, prostitution was the one. That's almost like the lesser charge. Up to 10 years. Not most, but a lot of statutes have up to 20 years, and some people get probation. So I'm just saying, he doesn't have a criminal record. Again, why the government is still relying on Jane is beyond me. I would definitely ask, what y'all feel about Jane? What y'all feel about the testimony of Jane? To just see if they even took her testimony as being as credible. I just think because he paid for these people to have sex and they crossed state lines, it just looked clear cut for me. I didn't understand any type of argument he would have against prostitution. I couldn't see it. I saw what Agnifilo was trying to, pick up what he was trying to put down. I just wasn't seeing it. And apparently the jury didn't either. Yeah, well, yeah, they said it involved minors with R. Kelly. Yeah, they're supposed to come back and see if he can get bail. I think our prayer circle last night with the red. You think our prayer worked? We see they left yesterday with undecided on that Rico, and we prayed on last night with my dad on his channel. Y'all go check that video out. And apparently, I ain't gonna say that's what it was, but they didn't have a decision. I'm just saying. You know what Miss Lady said? I think he gonna have an FO his first night. Woo! Yeah, so what's going to happen is this. So I've done sentencing memorandums from federal court, and my client, what was she facing? The last one I did, I can't remember, but I think sometimes they'll give you a year and a day. She never did any time anyway, but she pled too, so they weren't really going for the gusto. But they did like a year and a day. And the reason why they'll do a year and a day is because you have to at least have that much if you want to get some type of time credit. So if they do a year and a day, you'll probably do about 9 months in federal prison. And if that happens, then Diddy can definitely walk and go home as time served. So they are going to probably go for probation based on his or the lower end of the guidelines, because that would be what's appropriate, honestly, on this. So even though statutes will say up to 25 years, up to life, unless it's a mandatory life, that means that there's wiggle room all the way in between. I'm trying to see, did anybody talk to the lawyers? Did they come out yet? Or are they in there working diligently? Let's see. Armand is on live. He got big win for Diddy. No Rico, not guilty. Let's see. Some people got Sean Diddy Combs not guilty on sex trafficking. So, that was what's important to them. Yeah, listen, Brian Steele and them, they did their big one today. They did their big one with Diddy. I have everyone DMing me. Y'all was so dope. Thank you, Q the Prophet. Thank you, Ray. He was like, they ready. He got all these exclamation points. They ready. The verdict is in, girl. Get to your computer. Thank y'all so much for looking out for me. Because I show. And here go Andrea. Thank you. She said, they say there's a verdict in. Now I hope you see this. They reached the verdict. He's on the bench. Thank you. Thank y'all. Okay, I'm gonna have to start from the bottom because I'm not gonna be able to get all these comments. Lucas, thank you for the super chat. You said money in businesses. Does Combs need to restructure his estate assets and business interests to counteract legal liability after avoiding this RICO? I think what he should do, he's gonna focus on the civil aspects of these cases. I think a lot of the civil cases are going to be dropped, but I think it's more so of statutory reasons as to the statute of limitations. Specifically, those issues now are in the Second Circuit right now. So on whether a lot of these people that's coming back from 20 years ago should really even be allowed to come back. Do I think he need to do things differently? I think we all know he needs to do things differently. Like, that's one thing that we did get out of this, is that he was a bit sloppy. Pam, you called it. Put some respect on your name. They was in your comments tussling. I'm tired, y'all, but y'all done gave me so many cash apps. Shoot, I can go ahead and go ahead and get me a drink or something after all of this. Zuder said they tried to call my bro Diddy a pedo. There was no information about him being with children, and there was no information at the trial about him being with minors. That did not happen. Nelly said this was a stretch. Free Diddy. F Diddy. I don't know if you're trying to cuss him out or if you're trying to say free Diddy. I don't know. But this could have railroaded many regular people. That is the truth. Being free is all I will be worried about. Everything else means nothing. Being with those kids. He missed his child's graduation. He missed their prom. Yeah, he's a part of about 100 lawsuits. Tracy, I think she knows how many. He's a part of a lot of lawsuits right now. Y'all think he gonna come for Tisa Tells? That's what y'all think? The cars are pulling up to the courthouse. Okay. Y'all think somebody gonna get him? Let's see if we can find somebody. Is Emily on? Let's see. No, she's not on. So Cassie's lawyer has released a statement after the jury acquired Sean. So this is the whole thing too. Diddy paid Cassie $20 million, and part of her lawsuit was sex trafficking. And this is why, what did I tell y'all? I said once she filed that lawsuit, it made no sense for Diddy to pay. The damage was done. You file you pay to prevent it from being out here in the public. I still have the lawsuit, even though it's not on the docket. Many of us still have the lawsuit. If you download it, it's not going anywhere. And so now you've been told it was not sex trafficking by a jury of your peers, even though the bar is lower for civil cases. He could have definitely used this in his civil case. And I said that. I was like, once he was out there, Diddy, I know it was painful, people dragging you. But what was done was done. You should have just fought it after that. It didn't make any sense to me. So Cassie's lawyer has released the statement after the jury acquitted Sean Diddy Combs of sex trafficking her and another former girlfriend and acquitted him of RICO. He was found guilty only of transportation for prostitution. So this is Douglas Wigdor. He said the entire criminal process started when our client, Cassie Ventura, had the courage to file her civil complaint in November 2023. Although the jury did not find Combs guilty of sex trafficking Cassie beyond a reasonable doubt, she paved the way for a jury to find him guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution. By coming forward with her experience, Cassie has left an indelible mark on both the entertainment industry and the fight for justice. We must repeat with no reservation that we believe and support our client, who showed exemplary courage throughout this trial. She displayed unquestionable strength and brought attention to the realities of powerful men in our orbit and the misconduct that has persisted for decades without repercussions. This case proved that change is long overdue, and we will continue to fight on behalf of survivors. For Eyes Forever said, I couldn't see Rico. Your dad's prayer really helped. I'm gonna have to call him. When you prayed for Diddy, God must have heard you. I told you he was Jesus's cousin. Wanda, thank you for the super sticker. Petty Patty, Diddy needs to sow a good seed in Dr. Right. Shay J said, I don't trust no one with the recap but you. Thank you. I love me some Nicole Westmoreland, man. I don't even do interviews, but she would be one that she's welcome to come on whenever she wants to if she got time. November said he should have gotten 20 years. Well, he hasn't gotten anything yet, you know. We haven't went to the sentencing. We haven't gotten to that yet. They made that man sit in that awful jail all that doggone time. Makes no sense. Send him home. Said justice has been served. Fox is reporting how poorly the government used the premise of RICO charges. Believe Diddy will go home. Okay, listen. Now Fox want to report how poorly the RICO was. Where was Fox when I was over here windmilling fighting people? When people was like unsubscribing because of my take on just applying the facts with the law. I can't. You Candy Girl said they got a box of dye in the SUV waiting to change that gray to black. Listen, Brian's still out here winning, okay? I think it will impact it, but I think it's going to impact it. Honestly, I think that he was going to have a lot of those civil cases dismissed. So I don't want to say that it would definitely impact it, but it definitely helps. Lolo said, thanks, Pam. We appreciate you always provide commentary with integrity. Thank you. Kane said that boy Sean Combs be the federal RICO. You said Diddy's gonna become a mega church pastor. I told you he was about to be bishop. T's over there trying to sell a 20-year lie. Thank you for being honest with us. I never believe he get the bigger charges either. I told y'all, I was like, if he can get rid of the RICO, I said I'm not even focusing on prostitution because he guilty. That's what I said. If you've been over here, I was like, I ain't even focusing on the prostitution. See, I had to go back to the statute when someone asked to make sure it wasn't a minimum of 10 years or up to 10 years. In my mind, I kind of knew it was up to 10 years, but I had to check the authority. And it's just up to 10 years, which, you know, I'm not saying that that's nothing, but compared to life in prison and taking all your stuff. And I said it yesterday, I think he might need to sit down a couple, he needs to sit down a minute. When was he arrested? Back in September. So we're in July. So he's done 10 months already. Jewel said Tisa's big mad. She mad at the wrong person. She didn't get FO 20 years ago and she ain't let, you know what, Jules. Listen, people love Tisa. She was on, I think she was on what was it, Channel 7 or something, or like, well, ABC News, ABC, She's been on a few. She's been on, I think, Nancy Grace maybe. So she's been making her rounds. Some people love her commentary. I just be telling people, don't tell me what she says. That's all I say. Like I respect other content creators, and I don't be beefing with nobody because I just do my thing and I'm in my own lane. But I do like tell people, don't bring if your authority is her, don't bring it to me. Come to me with some different authority. Jay said Diddy better cut off everyone but Kanye. He the only one that had his back and his kids. Well, I don't know. Gina had his back. She ain't say nothing, and she out and about coming out Whole Foods or wherever she was coming out yesterday when we showed the video. Fahim, he was dragged up in this as being security. He was in the court every day. D-Rock never came. You had KK. She was 10 toes down. She ain't never come in and say anything, and she didn't flip on them. So I think they showed their loyalty. Thank you, Miss Bells. Oh, Carla. Finesse and Pam did that. Tune in from the bushes every day. Thank you, Finesse. I appreciate that. I don't think I've seen you before. Thank you for support. Did y'all hit this like button? Whew, I was out of breath in the beginning, so just excuse my commentary in the beginning. I was trying to run in here. Everybody was like, we have a verdict. We have a verdict. I was like, oh no, let me run in. You said the statement was insane. Well, what else they got to say? I mean, they said all they could say. You said it wasn't worth it. That's why I said would have took it to my grave and took my money. Yeah, I don't think testifying was it. Tisa should be sued. She was the absolute worst and crucified him. She kept claiming she had all the inside sources. I was over her when she brought that Mexican man to lie about Shanquilla. That's the first time I heard of her was when she got the guy to say all this stuff about Shanquilla, and then they had an interpreter and stuff. And I was like, where does guy even come from? So can we say Jane Doe's name? I don't know. They had me nervous. Takapino said he shouldn't have paid. Takapina called it too. He was going in with Nancy Grace. I was like, finally. If you guys look at it, and y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't look at everybody's platforms, but when you look at the platforms of a lot of these people, it was very few that even had my opinion. Very, very few. And I think Takapina was one of them going toe to toe with a Nancy Grace. So he should be out here just like puffing it up. Nancy Grace gonna be a little salty too, because she was calling him Tootsie Roll and opening up Tootsie Rolls and stuff. I guess someone tried to size him up compared to a Tootsie Roll. Cassie just showed that you can sue for being a prostitute. That's on Diddy. He should have never settled. I told y'all that off rip when he settled within 24 hours. I was like, that was dumb with 3 B's. I was like, it didn't make any sense because the point of settling is to not get the information out. Once the information was out, you gonna work for this money you about to get. You about to work for it. You gonna stay under oath. You're gonna do a deposition, and you about to work for this. I'm not just giving you no $20 million. Crimson Tide said Cassie used Diddy successfully. She set up for life spending his money. She definitely is the winner. That's pretty much what Agnifilo argued, was that she's the real winner out of this. And Jane, girl, I don't know what to tell you. And I think that the kids, okay, so there was a brief interview that I saw. It might have been from TMZ, and we know the twins are being taken care of by Kim's best friend, but they live in the LA home, I think, of Diddy. And so she said nobody could stand Jane. Okay, so Jane is hit. Jane is hit. She probably over there rethinking her whole process. You said Cassie didn't fight for anybody. She fought to get her money and get him back for what he did to her. That's it, and that's all. Okay. Y'all, I'm so behind on this chat. Y'all was moving so fast. Brian Steele is a class act, top-notch, respectful lawyer. You said, Pam, do you think Johnson & Johnson will give him a brand deal? My son said, I think they tried Diddy on this to see how far they can take the RICO. I agree with that. I think that they would have stretched it. By texting me talking about some Teflon Diddy. No, RICO finally messed up this. Yeah, they need to walk that RICO back. Nosy, the new said, I think the verdict was fair. I think the verdict was what it should have been. Beyonce's lace front said, given they only needed 2 guilty, would you say this is a win for both the government and the defense? No, I don't. I think it's a win. I think it's a win for the defense, and I think it's an L for the government. Personally. She was on Nancy Grace. Niner said, please stop hating on Tisha. She did her thing. I ain't hating on Tisha. I'm just saying that she swayed it to get the people to watch her. That's all I'm saying. Some of the stuff was like she embellished a little. Can we agree with that? She embellished a little. And for me, I'm not about clickbait. I'm just gonna apply the facts with the law. I'm not hating on her. She just, if people come to me with saying things that she said, I need to see some verification. There are some people that they can tell me somebody said, and I believe what they say because they have a track record of being completely truthful and completely, like, verifiable what they say. So with her, and sometimes I'm not saying she just lies all the time. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, when, in my opinion, if somebody comes to me about something with what she says, I want to see somebody else, or I need some documents. That's all. I just need verifiable information. But she has a huge audience. People love her. And that's what's up. I mean, I'm a whole lawyer out here trying to help people. So would I get out of hating somebody that's doing some commentary or whatever? Like, just saying. SH Play said, thank you for your dedicated coverage. You kept us informed even when you traveled. Well done. Thank you so much for the kind words and the super chats. I told y'all, I said that you said they need to study how the internet is always wrong about the conclusion of these cases. I told you that media has always been organized ignorance. Some people don't look up things for themselves. And so because of that, we rely on news sources to tell us the truth. And some news sources sway. That's why you knew what would happen on Fox, with certain political information, what you're going to get from CNN, what you're going to get from MSNBC, because they sway depending on their stances a lot. That's what it appears. And so if you watch a certain station a lot, you're going to believe everything they say, as opposed to you looking up a lot of this stuff that you can research. Like, a lot of this stuff is like, you can look up these statutes. One of the things I told you all is the importance of the jury instructions, what the jury can consider, what they can't consider, what this word means from the legal perspective as opposed to our everyday layperson language. And some people just don't, they look at things differently. I think that the jury got it right. Does feds do the score factor in determining time? So there are actually guidelines and they have scores on there. So for instance, they'll give you a 2 for not having a conviction. Oh my God, balloons. They'll give you a 2 for not having a conviction or something. I'm just making this up because I haven't looked at their point system in so long. They'll give you a 5 for doing this. They'll give you a 2 for being this. And sometimes you can enhance. So if he was a public servant, like a politician, they might add 2 to your score. So it just depends on what his guidelines look like. If I have time, I will actually pull up their guidelines. And I don't know if I have any updated ones. And I probably could almost predict what he's going to get based on the guidelines. Y'all need to leave Tisa alone, okay? We're not going to just have she 10 toes down. Okay, I'm so behind. I'm waiting on statements from Jaguar, Suge, and R. Kelly. You know, R. Kelly trying to get out. He said they trying to take him out of here up in that prison. Keyla Will said, I can't wait until Sonia and Nesto's new car. He gonna think he about to get on. I told you how corrupt this government is. Everything's just so corrupt. It's easier for people who can remove their personal feelings. And sometimes it's hard when you've had personal experiences. Like I have a friend who is a lawyer and she went to law school because her sister was unalived. And so she wanted to be a prosecutor. Like she wanted to put these people in jail. And after a while, she got an opportunity to work for a defense attorney. She thought her parents was going to be upset because this was obviously very devastating in her family. And her sister was young. She was like 19 or something. She had a kid. And they only knew her, they knew that her sister got unalived because people were watching TV and they seen her niece who was like 2 or whatever, however old she was, and they were like, do anybody know this little girl? And so that's how they found out. So it was a very devastating situation. And so she was like, I'm putting everybody in prison. That was kind of like what it was. And then she ended up taking the opportunity to work for a defense attorney because it was like a very known one around here. And it was just one of those, you can't pass up that opportunity. And she had the part of her assignment while she was there, it was an unaliving trial, and the guy was not guilty, and they kind of just put things together with circumstantial evidence, and he ended up being found not guilty in like 40 minutes or something like that after a 2-3 week trial. But from that, she changed her whole entire perspective, and she did not want to do prosecution anymore because she couldn't believe that people would really bring charges against someone and they had no evidence. And so this is what she does to this day. And I was like, she's never looked back, and everything she does is like she helps to create or to help better the defense portions, like the public defenders of the courts. Everything is just interesting to see how she evolved from I will never do defense work to seeing it from a different perspective on how people can't get railroaded and change in our mind. Like I can really be more beneficial on this side than on that side. Khan and Jima said, plan to go into family and criminal law. Learned a lot from your channel. Was recommended to go into law by a military attorney after seeing my work. Well, congratulations to you. I'm not a family law person. I've done it. It's just not my thing. It's a very emotional, dramatic area. But I have friends that's right up their alley, and that's all they do. They like being in the drama. They like to have the investigators that have followed the NFL husband for 2 years and caught them with 20 women. They like that. For me, I don't understand people that just fight over everything. It's like, I want the fork, I want the knife. The kid, you was 5 minutes late to get your kid. It's such an emotional area when it comes to that. Custody, everything is so emotional, and so that can be draining too. But there are some people that are just built for it. Defend being in criminal defense, I think that it's righteousness to that as well, but some people don't look at it like that because they always feel like you are representing a criminal, and they don't ever look at it like perhaps they actually didn't do it. So yeah, but good luck to you. I know you'll be fine. And anything, you can always reach out to me. I help whatever way that I can. And thank you again for the super chat. Thank you so much. I just disagree, that's all. I'm not trying to hate on nobody. All right, let me get down. Oh my God, y'all. DM Towns, thank you for the super sticker. Deborah said, Pam, you called it great commentary. Thank you so much. See through you said Cassie and Jane were two grown women who went for Diddy because of his status, thinking they're gonna game the old player, not knowing he don't sleep and he had his own plans for them. Thank you for the super chat. Y'all are. Shy Dominique said Jane needs a moving truck. Any moving companies? He said embellished a lot. Monique is worried about the hard-earned tax dollars being wasted on what should have been a state prostitution charge. I think that's what Judge Joe Brown was saying too. There were very few that had my opinion. Very few. Do you think he could possibly go home today? They're definitely gonna fight it. They're gonna definitely fight it as they should. He got the team to do it. I don't think Agnifilo should argue it. Go get Nicole or something. You know, I'm always going to Nicole. Pam, we called it 1 out of 5, just prostitution. Well, it's 2 out of 5, but thank you, Judge Wood. Thank you so much. We did. That's what we said. Liz White said people are surprised about the verdict because they listen to one-sided commentary. Yes. They're like, what? How did this happen? Yeah, there's a whole calculation. I mean, that's a whole lie within itself. The Most High ain't gonna let R. Kelly out of jail. He touched his damn daughter and he knows. Oh, I guess you're saying he's not gonna let him out of jail. Nelda said, I think the jury got it right. Now the Fed speaking on minors, they are full of it. People was talking about minors before. So yeah, Pam, please pin the membership link. I don't have it. Oh God, I'm that behind. Jesus. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Did I make it? You said they went in on her. I'm trying to find somebody's that I could stream before we get off of here. That's not YouTube because you know when I don't want to get copyright stricken. Okay, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, has requested. Okay, we already know that. Requested that he be released. Let's see.
Not guilty. Not guilty on the RICO. The way the courtroom and the overflow went. Next count, sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura. Not guilty. Not guilty of sex trafficking. Transportation, guilty.
Okay, that's nothing.
Okay, yeah. Sex trafficking of Jane Doe. Not guilty.
Yeah.
The way Diddy was so happy. He's coming home. Transportation, guilty. Holy shit, you guys. People are freaking out in the courtroom. People started screaming.
That's what I'm talking about.
They were screaming. Nobody expected this. Nobody. I was ready. I thought he was going to win. Well, actually, I said it this morning, but.
Nobody is. Well, we expected it over here at the Law Intellects. This is what we expected. This is what we expected. When you apply the facts to the law and the jury instructions, this is what it is. This is what it should have been. See, everybody's going to say that don't really like him. He's facing 20 years. You know, that's going to be the headlines for the two. But honestly, this was a win for him. If, of course, acquittal on all counts would have been the best. But if he had to go down, this is what it was. I didn't see how he was getting past it. I said I didn't see how he was getting past it. I think the prostitution was what it was. And so I focused on RICO and trafficking and just applying the facts in the law over here and why I believed that just wasn't going to fly. Why it shouldn't fly anyway. But hey. Superstar Bella said it is better to get your information from a lawyer and not the old or new media. Why is this lady almost crying? Does she know Diddy personally? Who is crying? You talking about the one on the video, Emily? Yeah, he does have a whole hell of a lot of lawsuits. I told you why I think that some of those are going to get dismissed. I don't think it would have anything to do with this federal case. I think that there's some statutory issues with that case. And the Second Circuit Court of Appeals is going to be rendering a decision on that forthcoming. Tanya said, so how much time do you think he'll get? 10 years? I don't think he's going to get 10 years. I don't. Will the government go for the gusto? They going for the gusto. Trust and believe. They are going to find every little thing they can, any type of, they're going to try to take away any mitigating factors that they ever can think of. Um, what's going to happen is a pre-sentencing report is going to come out, and each side writes sentencing memorandums, and we'll probably go over those. Hopefully they file them. I've seen sometimes where they don't file them, but I think they'll file it. And they'll go over like his background, his history in the pre-sentencing report. They'll say certain things in the pre-sentencing report that he tells them, maybe information they found out about him that they think is important. They'll go over his charges, what he was convicted of, all different stuff. And then as attorneys, now I had an attorney tell me that I shouldn't object to things in the report because it's very rare that a judge is going to grant the objections, because you can object to some of the information in a report and how it's being portrayed. I objected. I think I did like 4 objections in the federal sentencing memo that I did. That was like 2018. And I think I got 2 or 3 objections where the court granted them. And he was like, "Oh, that was big that you was there." I'm like, "So don't listen to what people say. The only thing the court can tell you is no. But you object to some of the stuff that's in there, the court may change it." Then at the actual sentencing, you have people that will come in and talk about how great you are, how great your client is, and things that they've done that's so great. But I think he's gonna get a little bit of time. I don't think they're gonna give him probation. But because he did do a year, I don't know how they'll factor that in. But I don't know enough about him to I guess do a real like thorough sentencing type of report, putting the points, because I don't know enough about him. I only know what you guys know out in the media. So I don't know him enough for that. But I actually, I have the information to do a sentencing type of report to probably get a generalized idea. But that's how it works. Right now, they're all going to do memos. The judge said we need it by 1 o'clock, so they in there. Diddy said, "I don't want to go back to the MD or whatever it's called. I don't want to go back." So the judge is going to let him sit, I guess, in the cell at the court while his attorneys chew. There's a whole lot of them. You do one paragraph, I do one paragraph, whatever. And they're typing it up right now. And the government probably already got theirs typed up. And they already said because of the drugs and because of this and because of that. It's like, bro, he wasn't convicted of the RICO. And that's really what the drugs was about. The sex trafficking, you tried to use the drugs as being force and coercion. He was not convicted of that. This is prostitution, where he paid a male sex worker who was not doing drugs to have sex, even though it wasn't with him. That's what he's convicted of. So because of that, they're bringing up everything in trial as if it was proved beyond a reasonable doubt. And I don't think they should be able to use it. But hey, who am I? They talking about James said he was violent. Well, the jury may not have believed that happened. And why can we deduce that the jury doesn't believe that happened? Because she also alleged, after getting beat up, that he now mind you, she started this fight. She's the one that took his head and slammed it into the table, which was interesting because she did that after she read Cassie's lawsuit, and she ain't had no violence in her relationship with Diddy. But she alleges that he made her have oral after and called someone over. So they're using that as a force and coercion incident. Well, he wasn't convicted of sex trafficking. So why are we still using Jane in the alleged violence? And that's what they should argue. The jury did not find him guilty of that. And that's what you use that violence to show force. And the jury didn't believe that. So maybe the jury didn't believe that whole incident happened the way she said it happened. Or maybe they had a problem that she hit him first and she started it. So I'm sure they're going to argue it profusely for him to get out. Diddy's life in terms of the public won't be the same. Purple, I agree with you to that. I think it took a big hit for his reputation. Liddell said those escorts are also documented as legal entertainers. Joanne said, I predict he will fall another way. Now, God doesn't like ugly and not too fond of pretty. I mean, he did get convicted of some things. Joanne, he did get convicted. Did he gonna get time served in probation? That's from Philly. We'll see. Keisha says she acts like a victim. Mrs. AJ87 said, I'm so happy to be a member of the channel. I'm so happy you are too. Okay, now Timbuktu, I timed you out yesterday, and I'm just gonna have to ban you from my channel. It's been real. Tamala said, I think Trump is gonna pardon. Purple, I'm not sure what you're saying. When is the John in court, but not the seller? I'm not sure what you're saying. Come now, said this was a humiliation ritual. April said 3-year concurrent credit for time served. Maybe we have to do a poll on what we think he's going to get. VC feels like the jurors failed the victims. I disagree with that comment, but you're entitled to it. Angie M said it's impressive. Defense put on a witness. No, 0 witnesses and got this result. Absolutely. And so now you guys see why they didn't put on any witnesses. I think they planned on putting on witnesses depending on who the government was going to call. And when the government didn't call certain witnesses, they were like, nah, you don't need to testify. If he testified, he may have gotten convicted, because you got to stand the pressure of it all. You got to, the cross-examination, they're going to bring everything up that they know about you from birth dang near. So yeah, it's rough. It's a very delicate decision to put your client on the stand. Now, there's some instances like if you have a self-defense case, of course, your client is going to be getting on the stand because I think it's somewhat difficult to defend those type of cases if they say self-defense if the client doesn't testify. But for this one, I think they made the right call. SK Simmons said, I'm pretty sure the prostitution charges were for Cassie and Jane, not the escorts. They were for Cassie and Jane. But they say Cassie and Jane and the escorts, but the money exchange was given to the escorts. And there is a financial aspect. Now, to your point, they can say that because Cassie was getting money from him and Jane was getting her rent paid, I guess they can say that, but that they were getting, but that would mean every time that Diddy has sex with them, that would be prostitution because he's always taking care of them, right? So I think it was the money that they gave to the escorts. That would be my assumption or presumption, just because, again, you would say every time they had sex, that's what it was. If you're saying the money that he just paid them just for them being together. That means even when no person was brought over state lines, if he took Cassie over to New England and they had sex and then he took her out on a shopping spree, then that would be prostitution. So I don't know. I missed a super chat from Lucas. Let me see. Let me find you, Lucas. I have like 60 something super chats. I ain't never had this many. Thank you so much. Lucas said, Jane Doe, do you think Diddy needs to make a sealed agreement with the LADA and Jane in order to prevent potential state charges? Well, if the state wants to bring anything, I don't know what agreement that could be, because if the state wants to bring anything, they're going to bring it. Just like Jane says she didn't want to testify, they're going to bring it. I just don't think they are. I don't think that they are. I hope I didn't miss any more. If I missed your super chat, let me know, because there was a lot of them that came through. But I tried to. Natalia said the charges were 100%. Well, the conviction, I think, was 100% fair, is what you're saying. Bessie said, can I recap? Sure. The verdict is what I said that it was going to be. I didn't think they proved the RICO. I didn't think that they proved sex trafficking. I thought it was consensual, but I did say that they proved prostitution. And so the verdict was actually exactly what I said the verdict was probably going to be. But there's always a caveat that you don't know what a jury is going to do. And yeah, I had someone call me yesterday all sounding depressed, like, I don't know, they got a verdict. That's not good. I was like, people were arguing with me about how fast it comes and all of that. They well not arguing, but we had a conversation about how fast I'm like, that's not my experience. I can only go by my experience. Of course, there's no set in stone way, but my take on yesterday's four was again the prostitution was a no-brainer. I told y'all they never even asked about Jane at all. The only people they asked about was Cassie, and they asked about it for the trafficking. From that, I deduced that they already found them guilty on prostitution. I figured they were struggling on Rico because it was just the everything was just so convoluted and difficult. But I said if they apply it in this way, I think they'll find them not guilty. But I can see where the government is trying to go. I just don't agree with what they're trying to do, is what I said. And then so I knew the prostitution was probably a guilty on yesterday. And the trafficking, I was pretty certain Jane, because they never asked for her transcript. They didn't care what she had to say. So from there, I was like, okay, y'all care about Cassie's two incidents. So that was the contention on whether Cassie should have got trafficking. That was what they were going back and forth about. And they didn't, came to the conclusion they don't believe she was trafficked, that it was consensual. And so today they came in, and maybe it was one or two holdouts. It must not have been that many because they came up with a verdict real quick, or they went home and they thought about it. And maybe when my dad prayed yesterday over there on his platform, maybe it did work. Shoot, I don't know. Let me call them and tell them, I'm be like, listen, they ain't know about the Rico, Dad, but look like it might have worked there. Thank you, Marlo, for the cash app. If I forgot to say thank you. Andrea says, should domestic violence charges be overhauled to ensure justice for victims who take longer to seek? No. And let me tell you why, Andrea. And this is not to be like bold. I get the psychological reasons behind it. It's because as a person that does wrongful convictions, it's very difficult to recreate cases from 10 years ago. If you say my client beat up their wife last week, I can, and it happened at the Marriott, I can go to the Marriott and I can go get video. If you say that there were phone calls and exchanges, I can subpoena to get phone records. I can subpoena to get the pings. I could subpoena to do all of this stuff in order to actually prove one way or another whether it happened. When you start bringing up stuff, that's why you have a statute of limitation. A statute of limitation is because the claims get stale, and then they're very, very hard to defend once that happens. So if the state has their evidence, they have a statement from someone saying that they beat them up, they have that evidence. Just like, even let's just talk about the hotel right quick. We have video and some text messages from the hotel incident, but the issue was the government was saying he was trying to beat her in order for her to come back to a freak off. How could Diddy really fight that wasn't his reasoning for even doing this to her? It had to almost be an inference. It was just the government really didn't have any real information of what their theory was. That's what saved Diddy. Other than that, he would have really been hit if the jury really believed he was dragging her back to finish off a freak off, that it was in the middle of a freak off. They would use those words. But Cassie testified they had already completed it and she was leaving. So they were almost saying oh, he wanted more and he didn't want her to leave. He could have maybe had some type of communications, or even from other people or whatever it was during that time, to say, no, this was, she just wanted to go and hang out or get some rest before her premiere or whatever she was saying. So what happens is evidence gets stale for you to defend yourself. So that is the purpose of a statute of limitation. I get it. When it comes to young people, a lot of, because of what was happening in the Catholic Church, there were statutes that were created in order to allow you to sue them regardless, and they had to look back and all of that when it came to minors. And there are tolling provisions from the civil aspect as well for minors, because if they're not of age and maybe this comes to them in therapy when they're 21, sometimes they still can file civilly because they have tolling provisions when things happen when you're a minor. So there are some coverages for that. And then when it comes to criminal, there are certain allegations that just don't have statutes. So if you unalive somebody, they just put you in a cold case if they don't know what happened. And you may, like, especially with that whole DNA and me and all of that stuff, they have been able to capture people from the 70s and the 80s based on looking at the genealogy of you were the first cousin of the person who we swabbed their mouth. So when people are trying to figure out like who their family is and their ancestors and that, it really, really, really helped the government. Because now they're able to like show your genealogy. Oh, that was your first cousin who was the one that did something to somebody in the 70s. So those type of charges, they don't get stale. But I do agree that some charges you need to have a statute on. Like defamation, I think most places from a civil aspect is you got to sue within a year. Nobody wants to, they're not, how are you really going to be able to know, I guess, that somebody figured you defamed them 20 years from now? You probably don't even remember what you said on YouTube. So there's a reasoning to have statutes. That was my long way of saying that. Mary Henry said, Pam, do you think the text messages canceled out the effects of that video? I think it helps. Yes, I think it helped. Abby said 50 isn't bitter. She's a gold digger and a hoe who tampered with his enemies. She's dangerous gal. He called him the John Gotti for beating the feds. Is that what 50 just said? He ain't Michelle K. He ain't going nowhere. If he get bombed, he ain't. Why? He's not doing that type of time. He's really not. Let me go to 50 Cent, see what his old petty self got to say. See if he said anything. His junk ain't even loading. Oh, there it go. A 50 Diddy just told me to tell y'all don't worry about him. He gonna hold it down real ninja-ish. How do you win a fight if you're fighting someone who is too stupid to know they lost? Just keep hitting them till they stop moving. Oh, Diddy beat the feds. That boy a bad man. Beat the Rico. He the gay John Gotti. You know what? I can't. He be doing the most. He be doing the whole most. Let's see what our mind look like.
People are now showing up, but they hadn't been here the entire case to support Diddy. So there's a man yelling and saying, why is all these family members and friends coming now, but you guys were not here the entire time that he was facing these federal charges?
So apparently now he got the whole family showing up and friends and stuff. Now, I mean, y'all knew that was going to happen, right? And Andre said, isn't there a 5-year statute of limitation on the Mann Act? No, there was a 5-year on the racketeering. But even if it was, excuse me, y'all. Even if it was 5 years, it still would have been for Jane, because she's saying that this happened in the last couple of years. But I think you're referring to the racketeering conspiracy. All right, y'all. We gonna see what happens. I may come back if they argue about this whole bond thing. I told you I'll have a hearing at 2:00. So if I do get on there, it'll only be about 45 minutes. So, or I might have to, maybe I'll come on right after my hearing that I have today. But y'all, I gotta go because I was on my way to go print some things off. And everybody, thank y'all for stopping me in my tracks so I didn't miss out on the breaking news. You guys are the best. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. We would love to have you over here. We are growing. We are on our way to 40K. We trying to get there. And make sure you like the video so we can get into the algorithm. Thank you again for all of the super chats you guys showed out. I love you all so much for that and for supporting the channel and the cash apps as well. And yeah, I almost want to go to my dad's channel and be like, how you feel about Diddy? You prayed last night. Remember you had your conversation with God? It done shifted the atmosphere. But anyway, if you guys have not subscribed, my dad has a whole. I went over there last night and I was on my Pam stuff. You know what I'm saying? But he typically does church and Bible study and all of that. So if you want to get a 20-minute word, he'll do that. But I went over there and I caught him off guard and I just started being on my Pam shenanigans. But it turned out to be fun. It was a good time until he got off and he ended the whole live. So I didn't finish it. But yeah. All right, y'all. I'm going to holler at you guys later. You guys have a great